Yo, hey. I left you too long of a gap to say hey back. Davie with TwoSet, I think this is the right video. I don't know. The labels in the videos are pretty poor. I mean, they're great for them because they're like huge. But for me, figuring out which video I'm supposed to watch, because people are like, Davie already did the TwoSet video. It's like, oh, well shit. So I think this is the one, but I don't know. But I'm super excited. This is the uncomfortable moment because it's kind of lame when people like resume themselves, you know what I mean? It's a little crazy. But I think we need a little context here because maybe you don't know me or what I do or am about or whatever, and maybe you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to. But for context, I have been playing guitar, multiple styles of guitars, multiple genres, and multiple sets of venues for a long time, 20 plus years. That's me. And my actual specialty is classical guitar. I went to school for 7 years? I don't know. Got a master's degree in classical guitar performance from one of the baddest ass guitar players on the planet who actually designed the programs for multiple universities in Georgia. He did not have a PhD because he created the program that gave you a fucking PhD, bitches. And there is a gigantic chasm between everything else in classical. Now, to be fair, classical is like more of how you approach the instrument, not just the period of time. It's like, 500 years. For violin, it's probably longer. But, hundreds and hundreds of years, we just call it all classical as far as how you approach the instrument. But when I play with my friends, when I go and play, live public shows with a group, it's always not classical because classical is always solo for me as a guitarist. But worlds of difference. And that's why I love TwoSet. I've seen a lot of TwoSet videos because there is an attention. If you don't train in an academic setting, then you might not know what I'm talking about. The level of detail for classical shit is fucking mind-blowing. Like, however detail-oriented you think it could be, I'm telling you, you're fucking wrong. It's many levels deeper. And I'm a guitarist. We're like the punks. We're like the punk bitches in the school. Like the violinists, the pianists, and the percussionists, they're like we're still letting classical guitar players like be part of the program? Like, really? Like orchestra, for example. That's a requirement. Be in a large ensemble. You know what guitarists have to do? They fucking join the choir. Because they're like, bro, we don't have a bunch of fucking concertos and there's guitar concertos, but those are for soloists. We don't have like a third chair guitar position for any of this orchestral shit. And they're like, these guitarists are punks. Guitarists, you just have to own it. Guitarists, we're not anywhere near as tight with our rhythm as like, the other groups of people. We're not as, tight in many ways when it comes to what the other instruments have to go through. What we do have though, is anyone here? What we do have is, motherfucker, we're doper. Do you understand that like if you're gonna have a solo classical guitar or a solo violin, that the majority of the world's gonna lean towards solo guitar because our shit's doper. That's why we're in there. Anyway, so I'm excited to do this because Davie and TwoSet is going to have like a nice back and forth. Call and response? No, not call and response. But, well, maybe. I don't know. Let's go.
Basically a very big violin, but I have to say it, bass is way harder than violin. They told me you have to practice 40 hours per day to learn violin. Noobs. In order to learn bass, you have to practice 69 hours per day. Checkmate, violin.
I love that he's saying that, but he's fucking as wrong as could be. Davie, I fucking love you, but you're fucking out of your depth on that. I have played violin and cello and upright bass and a little saxophone and a little trumpet and some keyboard and some guitar and electric bass. Violin, I think there's like a law of the universe where for the first like 3 years, you have to sound like dog shit every day. Like dog shit. No, worse, because you can't actually hear dog shit. You can hear violins. And a violinist learning. My mom made me go outside. She's like, do you have to practice? I was like, I do. If I want to get better, I have to practice. She's like, well, then you have to fucking go outside because it sounds fucking terrible.
That's sacrilegious.
Davie 504, you picked on the wrong game. Today we must defend the honor of the violin game. Preheat your ovens.
Well, let's not hate on violas and cellos. I think what they're going to say is pretty true. Although violins have the lead melodies and the lead harmonies, and their techniques more developed. And okay, yeah. Bach Prelude, and I played in E minor. Is it in E minor? No, E major. E major. Yeah. I will say that's the hard. Out of everything I've ever learned, that is the hardest piece I've ever learned from start to finish, and I never performed it publicly. I played it in school for an audience. Fucking terribly hard. Never made a video of it. Never performed it publicly. So goddamn hard. It's like 2,400 notes in a row with no repeats. And technically demanding as fuck. I would recommend, if you want to hear it on guitar, I would recommend the John Williams version. He's got a nice video. John Williams is a fairly mechanical guitarist, but he's got a really great version.
Here we see a big brain violinist memorizing the exact precise location to place every finger in order to produce the correct intonation. This is the result of 40 hours of practice every day. Super true.
Super true, because you can alter the intonation of any of your notes to match. This is getting a little weird. I don't even know if I have the understanding musically of what's going on. But not only do you have the precision of your intonation, but there are certain types of chords and certain movements between chords where you might lean a little further into a note, or a little, further. You might sharpen a note a tiny bit or flatten a note a tiny bit, given on where the music's going, where when you're on a fixed pitched instrument like any fretted instrument like a guitar or bass, you can kind of bend, but it doesn't really work. I'm running some arpeggios. I hear you, bro.
Here is a bass player practicing 69 hours a day.
Well, that's not fair, because I think if he was actually a bass player playing 69 hours a day, he'd probably have a strap, be drinking some, stuff and smoking some vitamins.
Brett's sacrilegious.
Violinist is a quartet, but there's only one dude there. Oh, his bass is turned on now. That's nice. And at least he was doing steady eighth notes with his thumb. Okay, but something that they're not talking about is bassists have groove out the asshole, and you violinists can suck it, because I've played with hundreds of you bastards, and you are delightfully You're so good with your vibrato and your tone and your dynamics and the way you apply the vibrato on the note and how you swell and how you're able to work together as a group and then perform as a soloist. You're delightful, but your groove fucking sucks. You fucking have terrible rhythm, and I'm sorry. Yeah, you're really precise. But once you groove with a drummer, bitches. I'm sorry, I can't hear the drummer. Yeah, because you can't play that shit with the drummer, bro. You're good. Can't play with a drummer. You can play with an EDM track when they sample you and put you on the track and they adjust your playing. No, I don't. That's not even fair. What he just did. This money, this is just not even pretend. That didn't happen. He actually sounds better now than he sounded. I think he does. I think it's a joke. He's not supposed to sound better, but you sound better than you sounded before.
Alright, stop. Have you considered trying the viola?
Don't let Primrose hear that. Oh. No. I will link below to me playing motherfucking Bach on a classical guitar. Do not punk on a classical guitar. I'm sorry, I might have to get a little violent. I'm a little violent. I'll fucking eat your soul. Like, I don't know who you're fucking with. Let me play my 4 strings and like my arpeggios. I rock my bow across 4 strings and I get these cool arpeggios. Yeah, bitch, I got 6 strings. My arpeggios are fantastically better than yours, but counterpoint's way better than yours. The range of my instruments way better than yours. My popularity's way better than yours. I love a violin, but when you start trying to compare a violin to a guitar, have you not been alive for the last fucking 70 years? The world has spoken. Fuck your violin.
Hey, have you considered learning the bass?
No, that's a joke because he's bad at guitar, so bad guitarists and bass players. That's true. That is true. If 4 people show up at a jam and 4 of them play guitar, the one who's the shitty person, you're like, hey, you want to play like a bass line? And then when they suck at bass, you just turn them off. Nice.
I think I was a bit nervous, but I don't know. Some parts I need to work on.
Actually, I don't know what he's about to say, but I will tell you, that is how people are after the show. I don't care if they're in rock bands or whatever. Not to the random people that come up, dude, good job, great show. When you go to the green room and you're like sitting and you're hanging out with people, that is how everyone is. Everyone is basically like, I fucked this part up, man, I'm sorry. Or they're talking to another band member, dude, I didn't know we were going to that section at this time. Dude, my bad. Or the EQ on my setting was bad. I should have like told the engineer to like turn it down or whatever. That's everyone. It's not just classical players.
I'll keep working on it.
Epic.
That motherfucker never gets invited back to anything. When they show up at an open jam or something like that, everybody kind of tells everyone else, hey, if that dude over there reaches for an instrument, try to get it to somebody else. Don't let him touch it. That is an awesome crescendo. That's an awesome... You got me. I will say, I have to bow. I'm sorry. When it comes to crescendo, decrescendo, we cannot compete with you. String section, can't compete. Not on the same level. Violins, viola, cello, basses, 10. Guitar, not worthy of a number. Can't crescendo. Can't decrescendo. Just can't do it. We play a note, it disappears. It's really bad. It's really bad. I mean, you can play a lot of low notes and get louder, but you can't go, yeah. You can't do that. And you can't go, yeah. You can't do that. You just can't. You can't do it. You're like, no, Ellis, you can with a volume pedal. Yeah, bitch. Fight with the violinist with the volume pedal. See how you do. I'd await your response, but you're gonna die in the battle.
Easy.
Well, you reach with one finger. I mean, you can't use all your fingers. So you have to play the instruments. You use your pinky because your pinky on your picking hand is the least valuable finger. So you use your whatever. Can't expect TwoSet to know that. Whoa, he's reading music. That's strikes 1 and 2 for a bass player and guitarist. Typically. Not me. Well, it depends. Don't hand me no fucking jazz. It's kind of funny. I only read classical music on guitar. I don't I don't really read music for acoustic or electric. It's kind of shocking how bad I am at it. Remember, E major prelude, violin, all sheet music, no problem. All of my master's degree, all sheet music, no problem. But then when I have like my electric and there's stomp pedal on and the music in front of me, I'm like, how do these notes work? Oh, sight reading. Oh. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Sight reading's... I'm not here to sight read anything. It's like not even fair. Sight read. Read it at sight? At the first sight? No. No. I used to really beat myself up because of how bad I was. And I just realized... it's a fucking weird skill to be really good at. And how about I just either practice beforehand or I read a chord chart. Practice beforehand or a chord chart. Sight read actual notes. Yeah, like my mama said, go fuck yourself.
What is this? Sheet music?
Cheat music's more like it. Well, he's not even looking at it. He's not even looking at the music, so he doesn't know if he's right or wrong. Davie!
Seems. PP hard.
That is so expensive.
This is true. This is true. A really shitty orchestral instrument is like a high-end instrument in our world. It really is. There's just no way around it. People are like, oh, you want to get a violin? We have like a nice student model for $1,000. And as a guitar teacher, where I've had to recommend guitars, I've also bought mini guitars and kept them in stock to sell to people. I'm like, dude, here's a, because I might buy like 6 or 10 in bulk. And go, here's a guitar that's $300 right now. Anywhere you want to go, it's $300. I got a deal. I can hook you up. $150. And they're like, $150. And they look at me skeptical. $150. How much is he making off of me? I'm like, I'm making like $25 fucking dollars off of you, dick. $150. Go buy like a nice student fucking trumpet. Go buy, fuck all that. Go buy a nice student upright bass. Get back to me with your quote. This shit will blow your fucking mind open.
Less expensive. Checkmate.
That's true. Ours is way... So I thought this was, apparently I picked the wrong video, but that's okay, because I haven't like made, well, I mean, I just got finished making it, but it's obviously not Davie versus Twoset. I might actually name it Davie versus Twoset, you know? Clickbait. Is it really clickbait though, if like you get what you are clicking for? Violin versus bass. I actually had a really good time. The dudes are awesome. They know their shit. They're really talented. And there's no question they've put their hours in. So like I'm super open to anyone who's put the work in that wants to like poke fun at people, like, because it is funny. It's funny the differences between all the instruments and how we all approach stuff. And let me tell you something that is pretty true across the board. Maybe not at your particular academic institution. Let me tell you this. If you're in some setting where there's violinists and a guitar player and a bass player, the violinists are going to be there early, set up with the music, ready to go, and already have run through it many times and maybe practiced that day already. Guitarists and bass players, we show up maybe on time, maybe 5 minutes early, but we're never ready to play on time. Like never. And someone's like, I am. It's like, well, I know why you are, because I've been where you are and I know why you're on time. You know why you're on time? Because the musical director pulled your punk ass aside and said, look, the class is from 10 to 10:55 and we expect to play music at 10. So your ass needs to be here at 9:45 or 9:57 or 9:36 or whatever fucking time you need to be here to get the amp, get it set up, plug all your cables in, get your shit in tune so we can play music at 10. And you go, yes, sir. It wasn't because you fucking showed up on time. Violinists the day before are like, I'm already ready. But, you know, let me practice this again. And they get finished practicing and they're like, it can be better. And they practice again. And then they're going like, oh, you know what? This other violinist who thinks they might be better than me might see me playing this song. And even though I'm already completely 100% ready, let me make sure that I'm readier than they thought I would be ready, because I'm gonna take fucking first chair from that motherfucker. And they come in ready to kill people. Kill people with their cheap $10,000 violin, their cheap $1,000 bow, and their cheap backup $1,000 bow, backup $1,000 bow. I'm telling you, you want to find out about some people? Go study with them. Go be in a competitive playing field with them. Bruh, they will eat your fucking soul. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'm 100% making all this up and none of it's true. Why don't you go where badasses train? Don't talk to them. Don't hang out with them. Enroll and become part of the community and see what the fuck happens. Dude, I remember in an orchestral setting with about 300 people, where we had a big orchestra, about 85 to 100 people, and a giant choir lofted, about 200 people. Giant setting. And the conductor's up there, badass conductor. And we're going through it, and he's like, let's restart. Going through it, let's restart. And he cuts everything off, and he points up in the fucking stands, where I am. He points up and he goes, you. Thank fucking God he was not talking about me. He goes, you. And he goes, don't look left and right, you. And he's pointing. And there's a girl up there. And I think she was in the soprano section. Anyways, he points to her. And he's like, you. He's like, stop looking. You. Yeah, hey, no, not y'all. You. Until eventually, like, it's one girl. And he points at her and he goes, get out. Like, what? He's like, get out. I don't like your demeanor. I don't like when you're coming in and exiting phrases. I don't like your attitude. And you might be thinking, I'm going to ask you to fix it. Here's what you do. Go home and fix it and come back tomorrow. We're not wasting any time on you. And in front of 300 people, kicked her out. Get the fuck out. Didn't know her name. Nuh-uh. Because he works primarily with the orchestra. He's like, I ain't got time for these bitch ass singers. You don't know your shit? Get the fuck out. That ain't the only time that shit happened. Not the only time. He did, same guy, he was right. He was right. When she looked at him he's like, you don't know me. He's like, you should look me up. This stick that I'm waving around, you should look up why I get to wave this stick. And he was right, because he was like super crazy, mega rich and mega famous. And it turns out he's waving that stick for a fucking reason. And she didn't know. But she found out. Those are my stories for today. Fucking love y'all. See you later. I already said I love you, but I fucking love you. Goodbye.